and they wanted it as short as possible. Huh? There was a padri who was cutting grass in his garden, and someone passed. Now this padri, this Wika, was well known for starting his majlis anywhere. There are people and people. Wherever you met him, he started his sermon. So people used to run away from him. Not only in the church, he used to tell anything. Every time that we meet him, how are you this morning? He started his sermon. An elderly lady passed, and he saw the Wika trimming his garden and cutting the grass. So she said, "Hello Wika, good morning. Nice work you are doing." And the Wika started. He said, "Do you know, madam, every blade of grass is a sermon of God." He began with that. On every blade of grass, God has written His word. And the lady said, "That is why you are cutting it short." That is why you are cutting it short. And she went off. They don't want to listen to this. If a marriage comes in, and there is an occasion of marriage, you cannot tell them that this is haram and this is halal, because there is no question there. While in our case, it is a different thing altogether. It is a complete life governed by Sharia. And I have always given this example. I have given this example nearly hundreds of times. But I wonder if I have said here on a Friday. But I have said it everywhere I have been. That there was a time in East Africa when we used to come to London. When we came back, we used to throw our weight around with broad necktie, and sombreros. And if anyone asked us, "London return," it was more sacred than going to Hajj. And people thought whoever came to London was educated, the rest were all buffoons. Now, whether they spent in London 10 years studying or passing their good time, only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knew. But they came back as we in England, always boasting of this civilization. I remember a friend of mine had sent his son to London to study without knowing what he was going to study. And this is, of course, just because the father asked him, "When you come back, how much money will I start earning through you so that I can pay back the loan and also become rich?" So he said, "Father, don't worry. Once I come back, I'll pay back the loan and..." But what are you going to study? Nobody knew. This is not new. It was true in East Africa when fathers used to come to school and say, "Master sahab, maro chokro kai class ma chhe." It used to happen. The boy lived in England for 4 years, and he had promised his father he was going to study medicine. When he came here, he started studying something else without informing his father. But then he wrote one day to his father, "Papa, I'm coming back." So you are there in East Africa, in Nairobi, I remember. He told me, "Shall we go to the airport to receive my son after 4 years?" So when we went to the airport, we saw a young gentleman who came down with luxurious beard and with overgrown hair. And as he came, his father could not recognize him. And there was violin hanging from his neck. And as he came there, the old man looked at him after 4 years, and he told me in my ears, the voice still rings, says, "Mullah Sahab, 1,00,000 rupees mein humne ek naya bandar kharida." That in 100,000 rupees we have now bought one new monkey. Look at it. Went home, and the boy comes from England, doesn't want any nonsense. Comes from London. You know where London is. At that time, father one day ventured to ask him, said, "Son, may I ask you if I can now open an office for you?" He said, no office. A dispensary? He said, "No dispensary." But after all, there must be some place where you will work. No, he said, "No. Papa, you don't know what I have done." He said, "But what have you done then? Have you become a doctor?" "No." I may open a surgery for you. Have you become paramedic? I may open a shop for you. Have you become a solicitor? I may open an office for you. He said, no, nothing of that sort. What I have studied is much higher than that. All right, have you become a professor? I may ask for a job in the school for you, where you will deliver lectures. He said, no, much higher than that. But what have you become? He said, Father, just imagine a thing which I have been able to attain after labor of 4 years. How can I tell you within 1 hour? I will tell you when the right time comes. The father was waiting for Mapesa. And the boy was in the clouds. It was altogether a different world. Yeah? And one day, early in the morning, while they were having a breakfast, there was a boiled egg on a plate, and the son said, Papa, Papa, come here. Now is the right time. I can today at least tell you as to what have I studied. Father was so elated and so happy. Today I will know what degree this man holds. And he sat down and said, yes. He said, Papa, tell me how many eggs are there? Oh my God. The hinges were loose somewhere. But elderly people have got to put up with so many things in life. One of those things, as they say. And he said, my dear son, it is one. I mean, it is just an egg, one egg. I said, this is where the difference is, Papa. In London for 4 years, I have studied that this is not one, but these are two. So the father was convinced, beyond any shade of doubt, that this man must go to mental asylum. It is a lost case. So he said, but son, this is one. He said, yes, father, this is the difference. It is two. Now I'll prove to you. And he started his lesson in philosophy. Look, father, everything which exists is just a manifestation and dream. The original is the universal, which is in the mind, the idea. And the idea is the egg. Whatever exists outside is the exterior. The real is inside. Man is an image, is an ideal, is a universal. We are all members of that universal. We are just exterior manifestation. And as he went on the way I'm going on now, the father started getting somersaults one after the other into an area in which he had never been. And he said, bus, enough is now. Enough. I have understood thoroughly well. Now you do one thing. I will eat the one that is here. You will eat the one which is in the mind. Because what is the use of that, which does not even fill a hungry stomach? If you have studied that, so you will eat the one which is in the mind, which you say is the real one. I am going to eat the unreal one. Leave me alone. If religion, if aqaid, if faith is just going to be living in an imaginary life, and not applicable to my day-to-day life, if it is not going to serve me in my life, then that religion is just a label. It has got to govern. And this is why there is a difference. When a Christian comes to know that a Muslim cannot pass his time, noontime, without praying, a young boy says, headmaster or headmistress, sir, madam, I would like to pray. She is just unable to understand why. This is no church. This is no mosque. But to be able to understand this, they have got to understand that there is a timetable and that there are laws which governs. And that religion in Islam is a part of life. When we tell them that my son is fasting, my daughter is fasting, my son is fasting, 11 years, 8 years old, they think that we are starving them, not understanding that this is a spiritual exercise. They cannot understand because it is beyond them. And because of all this, when we talk to them about Islam, it is a strange world. Now, they are trying to convince our youths. This is the tragedy. That look, In Punjabi, they used to say, Dil changa to jag changa. If the heart is good, the whole world is good. So they are trying to convince our young men, keep a good heart and you are a good man. Be humanitarian and you are a good man. And they are trying to teach those common values and ibadat and acts of worship and even a realization that I am in any way obliged to my Creator Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is gradually being eradicated. When I'll come to the values, you will find some of the shocking revelations that I will make as to how the values have been defeated one after the other. But I'm talking of how they work on the minds. That be good, that's all, be good. While we say that yes, be good, but be good according to whose direction? This is the crucial question. Be good, but be good according to which standard? That is the crucial question. And the thinkers of this country, right from Mr. George, Bertrand Russell, Jung and Adler, I'm talking of those of Germany and here, Jung, Adler, Joad, and even Bertrand Russell, till he died, could not tell the world what was good and what was evil. Because they said it varies with culture and varies with the people. Now the answer is that there is no standard, no yardstick. Well, we say that there is. And there has to be for all, whether white, black, brown, or yellow. But only he can make a common yardstick for humanity who does not belong to any of them. He is the Creator himself. That is the difference. Because if I belong, then I am an interested party. I am a biased party. I am a governed, influenced party. But he who is above and who is the Creator, he knows as to what have I created and what is good, good for all. And that is what Sharia is. Now when an Englishman who has been a Christian becomes a Muslim, and if he becomes a practicing Muslim, a Muslim who prays 5 times a day, a Muslim who fasts Ramadan, he was a British, he was a Christian, sit with him, sit with a Muslim who has been converted and who is a genuine, sincere Muslim, and sit with him and ask him only one day, sir, how do you feel now that you have accepted Islam and you have understood Islam and you are practicing Islam, and how do you compare with the life that you led when you were a Christian? I remember when I went to East Anglia, Norwich, with marhum Dr. Asari, may Allah grant him a chosen place with Ma'asumin Salamullah alayhi. We went there and we sat with Asadullah, who is still alive, a British convert. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows, and he is my witness, that it was not possible to even believe that this man was a convert, that he was a British. With his dress changed and with his tasbih in his hand, and every 10 minutes naturally saying La ilaha illallah, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, from a British born. And when we came there without notice, and he said, you will be my guest and you will sleep in this barn, his wife brought food which had been cooked for one man or perhaps one man and 2 children. He did not tell his family that we have 2 guests. But his wife brought a plate with 3 spoons, knowing that there are guests, and we ate, and the man did not feel any scruple that I have got a guest, therefore I am inconvenienced. He said, Tafaddal, eat whatever Allah has destined for us to eat. And we ate. And we did not feel hungry that day. We ate, and after having eaten, he brought coffee, black coffee, and then marhum Dr. Asari asked one very pertinent question, a natural question from any Muslim. He said, Mr. Asadullah, may I ask you why you became a Muslim? And the answer he gave was, my dear doctor, may I ask you why you are still a Muslim? So Dr. Asarya said, marhum, that I am still a Muslim because I believe that the path I am upon is the right path. He said, do you sincerely believe, or are you continuing with the family tradition? Because your father was a Muslim, therefore you are Muslim. Doctor said, no, I have studied it and I believe in it. So then Asadullah said, whoever is in his sanity saved and complete cannot accept any religion but Islam. One has got to be dispassionate, impartial, and sane to understand that there is no path but Islam, because it governs my life. It speaks to me about the world here, and it also speaks to me about the world hereafter. How often have I told my young children, my young brothers and sisters, that if I were to tell you, and I say that for the last, mashallah, 30 years I have been driving this car, I haven't even committed one traffic offense. Some of the friends come and say, Mullah Sahab, evu kai ho jo taviz lakhi apo. Or they come and look into my car if I have got a taviz upon the steering rod. But I said, no, I haven't committed one accident or one traveling offense. Not one. I have been booked. So somebody stands up and says, Mullah Sahab, how do you do it? Just tell us a secret. I said, because I don't know how to drive. As simple as that. So the answer will be, Master, before you take pride in that, go and have the driving lessons and then buy a small car, bring it onto the road, drive. After having driven for some time, if you really remained so sober and in control all the time that you did not commit any error or offense, then you can say that it's a matter of some achievement. But a man who has driven, no. If you were to live as a monk, if you renounce the society and go and sit at the foothill of Himalaya, or in a room from where you don't come out, or you don't even counteract or react or interact with people and society, if you are all alone as a hermit and sadhu, and then you say that I have done no ghibat, I have wronged no one, there is no beauty in it. The beauty is what Islam says. Enter the mainstream of society and then prove yourself. There's a difference. There is a marriage enough in your family, inshallah ta'ala. There is a law there. You will not do anything haram there. There will be no music. There will be no musical party even after nikah. Not even before. There will be no dancing. There will be no wine drinking. There will be no mixed gathering where there is no hijab. Haram, mutlaq. Now, if you don't want to follow it, that means we are not following Islam. It's as simple as that. I want to open a business. Don't sell anything that is haram. That's all. Anything haram that you sell, the money which trickles into your coffer is haram. And the food that you will give to yourself and your children will be the food of haram. And upon that flesh which grows with haram money, Shariat does not work, and the message of Allah does not have any effect. You want to become a trustee? It's a good label, eh? Shariat says, well, if you are a trustee, then you are responsible of the trust, and for the trust, and to the trust.